PC or YouTube. You got all your sound in there?
Yes.
I do.
Okay. You're good to go.
Okay,
You got
so
this.
also worth mentioning. So when it goes, you'll push 4 for the open.
Mm-hmm.
It is going to pop up this slate right before you're supposed to take us, so you'll have to click back to the double box.
Okay.
I'm telling you this now, so when it happens, you're not like, oh,
Okay.
Because that's what's going to happen. Usually when you cut over to us on the double box, it should naturally unmute us. I don't think this is working, so I wouldn't follow. Push double boxes and then cut. Yep. Welcome into Your Sports Tonight. I am Baillie Burmaster alongside Aaron Ladd.
My goodness.
You're doing it.
I'm trying.
You're flying the plane.
I
All
feel
men
very-
think they can fly the plane. You're doing what every man thinks they can do. I believe in you.
If I got onto a plane and the pilot had the confidence I do right now, I would get off the plane. But we made it. We're in the air somehow, some way.
We're all the bird. I can make a lot of bird puns now with the Falcons and the Hawks, and we're cacawing our way through Sports Tonight on
Talk
this Monday.
about a plane that is rapidly coming to its
Okay.
descent.
Do we just want to go straight to it? Straight to the Falcons. Just a beat down in Denver. They made Bo Nix look like Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers, you name it. He was getting it done in every way, shape, and form.
Yeah, first 300-yard passing game of Bo Nix's career. Sean Payton seems like he's loving beating up on the NFC South. 38-6 the final. And, Raheem Morris talks so much about mentality and wanting his team to compete for all 4 quarters and continuously push through. I think of this game and the Seattle game, Bailey, as the 2 games where we didn't see that mentality. We didn't see that push. We didn't see that fight from Atlanta. Maybe it's because there were so many injuries. The secondary was worn down. But it just didn't seem to click. It seemed like this team got into the second half. One thing went wrong. The turnover that was supposed to be a turnover, but it actually ended up being a fumble recovered by Denver. It just took the air out of their sails. And Atlanta now is right back in a division race.
Yeah, 38 points were put up on that Atlanta defense. And we have to talk about the injuries because, listen, they don't have a pass rush.
At all.
So that plays into it, right?
At all.
And then you end up losing almost every corner in the room back there because Kevin King ends up leaving with a concussion. I mean, they're trying to get anyone who can play at this point. So yes, that all plays a factor in it. I think what was really stark is that they looked bad. They looked really bad in every phase of the game. Offense,
hey,
defense.
Younghoe Koo made his kicks
You know what?
this week. Finally,
give Younghoe his kudos for responding. Although, can I be a little nitpicky?
Okay, let's hear it. Sure.
The first 2 were a little close. Now I'll give it to him because it's outdoors. It's
they
cold.
only scored 6 points.
Listen, I'm just saying it's. He made it. I'm not a hater. Mm-hmm. I'm skeptical. And I think that's fair to say with the season he's had. But this Falcons team, I don't like that they got beat by the Saints. And then I don't like that they lost this game the way they lost this game. Especially now, the bye week comes at a good time. They're going to get healthy. Hopefully that helps. But also you have to sit on that loss for 2 weeks. Not great. Not great.
And then coming out of that, we get some more Michael Penix, right? Like the draftee, the pick that was so contentious at the time. You get Kirk Cousins, then you add Michael Penix. You invest so highly in him. He's looked good. I know it's been mop-up duty. Mentioned the 2 games where they got blown out.
Slinging
He's the
that
one coming
thing.
in. Now we get 2 weeks to sit where all we do is think about how they got blown out in Denver. They're not playing well. The offense needs a spark. And you got a little taste of what the future could be. Is it too early to start calling for Michael Penix, in your opinion?
Yes. Yeah. Are you being for real?
Well, I mean, we're doing like a sports radio talk
I know, but
show
is that
here
like,
thing,
no, calm down. Like, is that, are you really, is that your take?
Not this year.
Okay.
I think it's Kirk's year this year. And
Yeah.
look, in the losses, I forget the specific stat, but in the losses, he has not played well. Every game that they lost this year, I believe Kirk Cousins has under 200 passing yards. That includes this one where he was 18 of 27 for 173 yards and 1 pick, no passing touchdown. Like, to get this offense from where it is now to the next step, it's going to take somebody that offers a little bit more than Kirk Cousins. So not this year, but I could see it happening sooner rather than later.
Okay, so hypothetical. Kirk Cousins has a B- year. You think next year Penix still comes in?
I think it's going to be an offseason full of speculation. I mean, I know it was a 4-year
See, I disagree. I disagree.
You have Kirk playing all 4 years of the deal?
No.
Okay.
No. I think if they win and make the playoffs this year, which despite losing those 2 games, not looking great, still seems to be the case.
Sure.
Even if they lose, first round, whatever. I think he's still your guy going into next year. I think he's still, you have to give him the grace of still getting comfortable getting in this offense. Obviously, you need to look at the tape to see what this Broncos defense was doing, and even the Saints a bit to figure out where things kind of went left. But I think it's still his next year. I think going into that 3rd year, because I think the more you can give Penix time to develop and really learn from a guy like Kirk, the better long-term you're going to be set up for the future if you're the Falcons.
I think 1 year is what complicates things, though, as far as Penix is concerned, not Kirk Cousins.
I think that's respectfully, that's doo-doo. Because look how long.
Can we say that? Is this a family
I'm
show?
saying doo-doo to be safe. I was going to say something else, but you never know. I want to say that look how long Tom Brady played. Look how long Aaron Rodgers played. I think age is, when it comes to the quarterback position, is not really the talking point it once was. And, I mean, for the most part, from what we know, Penix is healthy despite all his injuries and how old he is. So why rush it? That's where I stand.
Well, we got some good disagreement here. November 18th, 2024, Falcons drop another one. Do they still win the division, in your opinion, as we transition to our next topic?
They should. If they don't, that's disgusting.
It's bad. They could have won it, essentially, in New Orleans, and now you're looking up.
Then maybe we're talking about Penix starting next year if they don't win the division.
So that's what it takes, a colossal failure.
This division is so horrendous. You should win it with ease. But if you keep losing these games, it's a concern. Raheem Morris did talk today, and he specifically talked about getting their butts handed to them in Denver. So let's hear from what Raheem had to say concerning that game and what he saw from the tape.
The assessment in Denver today, and we got our butts kicked, D-Led, so we able to come to grips with that in reality, with all that type of stuff and the stuff that we need to do to get better, to moving forward. We got to reset ourselves and get healthier, get our guys back to come back off the injury reserve and get those guys back to be able to come to form so when we get back, we're ready to go full speed. Obviously, as a coach's standpoint, we're going to evaluate everything that we do from special teams. You're going to evaluate everything that you do from offense, defense, across the board, like you do pretty much weekly. But you get the last one from our last mini buy, kind of in a combination type of thing in a packet where you can look at it from our Thursday night game we had versus Tampa up until this point. So you can kind of see the different blocks of the season and things that you want to look at, and how you want to look at those things, whether it be improvements or things that you need to improve or things you want to improve on, all those type of things and things that you can get motivated on to do as far as that. Get those packets, be able to look at them. Also, get away, give these guys a chance to get away and get with their families, to be able to spend some quality time with those guys, and to be able to get back in, have some nice energy, some new energy to finish these last 6. Big games coming up. Everything's still right in front of us, and I think that's like the most important thing for everybody to know.
Just to follow up, Coach. Who are you hoping or anticipating getting back from Troy? Dahlman's back. Getting him in the lineup.
Yes.
Mike Hughes, and then D. Offord, and then is Hallam's close to injury return type of situation?
Yes, all the guys you named, particularly Dahlman, getting him back into that starting rotation and getting him back out there with his guys, getting him going. Obviously, Helms potentially coming back at some point. Getting him back off the IR, some of that status, things of that nature. Not sure exactly when, but knowing he has the opportunity to get back, knowing Rook has a chance to come back. He got to get those 4th games, so not expecting him back to LA, but certainly some point after that. really getting a feel for those type of things, and then get some of our guys healthy. Getting our receivers back healthy, getting Mooney up fresh, getting all those guys healthy, getting Kirk fresh, all those guys healthy. Those guys need a little time off. It's always like that in the National Football League when you play 11 straight weeks of big time football, which these guys have played. Obviously yesterday was disappointing, but I don't want that to go by the wayside that these guys have been playing some big time football and have some good moments this year and some really good moments for all of us, to be honest.
Thank you.
Mark Zeno with stats.
Don't let him get you going, Mark.
That's okay. Look, I know you're not a fan of the term fast start, and I'm not even talking about offense. I mean, the start on defense, other than the 3-and-out, they scored touchdowns on four of their first 5 drives.
100%.
Does it feel? It looked from the outside like you just. I hate using the word unprepared, but it just feels like they had a game plan that you guys were not able to stop in any size, way, shape, or form. I mean, they're touchdown, 9 plays, 70 yards, 9 plays, 77 yards, 10 plays, 7. These are monster drives where they basically were able to move the ball at will. Were they doing something that you weren't ready for? Was there something that you just overlooked? Because it felt unprepared, defensively at least.
No, Mark. So the first drive we came out, the first play knocked it out. Second play knocked it out. Got into a 3rd and 10 immediately. And had a great situation and couldn't get off on that first third down and 10 of the game. And that was critical and that was crucial. That allowed them to continue to drive and go down and score in the red zone where they had a pretty good play that I thought was one of their better plays of the day. They scored on that play. The next couple of drives, they were able to go down there and continue to ball and move. And really, the quarterback played really well, played lights out. We talked about eliminate completions, and we're not able to do that. We talked about stopping the run game. We went out there and stopped the run game, but he was able to split the easy completions out there and allow those guys to run. We took away a lot of the shot plays that they had designed to go downfield, and he did a nice job of progressing to getting to check downs, to getting to the proper place where they need to go. The quarterback played extremely well, and I would have been very proud of him if that was my quarterback, the way he played yesterday. Played flawless football. He played extremely well, and there's some things that we got to do better as well, too. So, to say that we were unprepared in those moments, no, that would be fair assessment by you, and I'll take that, me first and foremost, on the chin. But I think we can play better. I know we can play better. We won't make excuses about who wasn't out there. We got to do a better job of going out there and executing who's ever out there.
To a quick follow-up, just when you talk about the bye week and fixing things, what is tangible that you can fix going forward? I know it's only an extra week. I mean, you just talk about playing better, but what is it? Scheme? Is it, just doing things differently? How do you fix those things in a bye week?
I think it's a little bit of all of it. Some of it's scheme. Some of us putting players in different positions. Some of us doing different things across the board. I think everything that you're talking about when it comes to football will be thought about and will be potentially applied to us going out to the next outing. So, whatever it takes to win football games, what we're willing to do. And I know my guys upstairs and my guys on this football team are willing to do all those things. So, I got a lot of confidence in all those things, Mark. And those are all fair evaluations and fair assessments by you. Don't feel bad for asking. Don't feel bad for talking about it. And, that's something that you got to be able to deal with in this business, and that's what we look forward to doing.
Go to Tori McElhaney next.
Yeah, just going off of what Zeno was asking, and I'm curious from a strategic standpoint.
Tate McRae, the Miss Possessive Tour. Live across North America in 2025. With special guest, Zara Larson. Sign up for pre-sale access at TateMcRae.com.
As a coach, what is the strategy for prioritization of fixing issues? When you go into this week and you have kind of a wide span of issues that you want to look at or things you want to fix, what goes into the priority buckets for you?
I don't think it's really a priority bucket. I think you just kind of walk through each phase of each game, right? You walk through all the phases in the game. And the way I like to term it, Tori, is really like rundowns. What is rundowns? Like normal D&D, 1st and 10, 2nd and 1 through 6. Then you want to get back on track downs, talk about 2nd and 7+ and how you want to affect the passer, do some of the different things there and what that looked like. Then you get to your 3rd down buckets, right? Your 3rd and short, your 3rd and medium, your 3rd long, your 3rd and extra long. Then you possibly get into some red zone high, red zone low, things in that situation. You go to situations, 2-minute, all those type of things. So you kind of want to walk yourself through a normal week of what it would look like and preparation, but you're putting it together with a bunch of weeks all in place. And now you can go out and see what you really did well, what you didn't do that you like, what can you fix, how can you help those situations, what can be helped, what can't be helped, what do you got to overcompensate for. All of those things got to come into place with those things, Tori. So like, those are the things that all go into all the stuff that happens. Some of it's done together, some of it's done separate, some is brought back with ideas, some of it's met with tape, some of it's met with different evaluations and different talent. It's a lot of stuff that goes into it, and there's a lot of fun to be able to go do those things, particularly when you're in a situation with everything right in front of you. So like, how do we get better to finish our last 6 games, how we started, and how we want to end this thing and where we want to be?
Yeah, it kind of like, as you're talking about it, it seems like a lot, like drinking water out of a fire hydrant a lot. And I'm curious, as you're having conversations with players, like, how do you not overwhelm them to the point of like all of this input and not a lot of output?
You don't talk to the players. You evaluate amongst yourself with the coaches, and when they come back, you make it learnable and likable for those guys to be able to absorb those things, better go out there and execute, right? So the better and better that you see those guys go out and play is the more things you can give them, the things that you want to give them, and how you want to give it to them.
Thank you.
No problem.
Go to Joe Patrick.
Hey, Raheem, I heard after the game yesterday, you mentioned that the team was kind of out-physicaled, out-efforted in that game. How much of a concern is that for you at this point in the season for a team that, has championship aspirations?
Not necessarily when you say at this point of the season, Joe, like it sounded like in the 11th game of the season, us not having our bye up until now, I knew it was going to be difficult, right? It was a challenge presented to our football team that we had to provide more physicality, more effort, because I know what we're fighting through. Ryan Marinelli said best, you got to learn how to love to be miserable. And yesterday we did not learn that lesson, we were not engaged in being miserable, right? We were hurt. We played hurt. We got out physical and we got out efforted, and we lost the football game because of those things. When it comes to us grading those things in those areas, we didn't have our best day in those areas. And that's what I meant by that. It wasn't necessarily where we're going, what we can do, or how we can do it. It was more about yesterday, right? The mentality that needed to be taken to that game was that we were going to be more physical and play with more effort. And I cannot say that when you come back and look at the tape or going through yesterday.
All right, so that was Atlanta Falcons head coach Raheem Morris from a team that had a disappointing loss to a team that had an impressive win. Georgia Bulldogs topping the Tennessee Volunteers 31-17 Saturday from Sanford Stadium. Baillie Burmaster was there. Baillie, I thought this game came down to something that we hadn't seen a lot from Georgia this year, and that's Carson Beck's running ability. Only 32 rushing yards, so not eye-popping in a box score number, but had some impressive scrambles when they needed it the most, got the rushing touchdown, and really showed a different versatility to his game, especially with ETN out with that injury.
If I'm not mistaken, I believe it was in the second quarter. They had not put up any points yet, and he had a scramble of somewhere, I think it was like 12 yards maybe. Mm-hmm. And that was the momentum shifter, because then after that, he hits Delp on what I thought was a severely underrated ball people did not talk about. That first Delp touchdown was in the tightest of windows, was thrown perfectly. Carson Beck, and I have been hard on Beck this season,
We
too.
all have.
Yeah.
You're not alone in that. We all have.
And so I thought it was really important. I think I said in my post-game package that you have to give him his flowers for this one, because who he was as a player in that game and his consistency he brought is the reason they won. I thought he was great. He was calm, collected. I thought his legs were effective. Even, it didn't seem like that many yards, but he really did give this team some juice when they needed it. He made a joke. He was like, I want everyone to know I'm a dual threat. And Kirby Smart was like, all right, calm down. But they did actually have, QB run plays that they implemented this week. And Kirby told him, if we're going to do this, you got to be ready to answer the bell when we do it. And he's like, just put me in, coach, and I'll take care of it. So I thought that was cool that it was part of the game plan. I wasn't really concerned about this game because I didn't believe that a Kirby Smart team would just come out against Tennessee at home and roll over.
But they hadn't played at home in over a month, and really the last time we saw them in Ole Miss, you could argue that was their worst showing of the year. I was a little nervous about what
I don't understand, and I know we covered it on air here, people were not talking about that line for Ole Miss and how much their defense, how it improved. I mean, the O-line got absolutely worked. And I was just baffled that, leading up to the game, people weren't talking about that enough. So I was really happy for Carson Beck. Oscar Delp had all career highs, 4 receptions, 56, 57 yards, and 2 touchdowns. So he came up big. Dylan Bell, I did see Dylan Bell leave in a boot.
The injury.
He looked sad in the face. Kirby Smart said they didn't have an update or know how severe it was. So we'll see how that remains to be seen. Now you just have to win out. UMass this weekend, who just fired their head coach.
I'm picking the Minutemen, baby. Let's
All
go.
right, calm down.
What a mascot that is. My goodness.
Calm down. But then they have Georgia Tech. I don't think that's an easy game by any means, and weirder things have happened, but it is a game Georgia should win. Now, the interesting conversation comes to the SEC championship. The SEC championship is going to be a cluster right now. The only team with 1 loss is Texas, and that loss is to Georgia. Everyone else has 2, and there's a bunch of head-to-head situations. If I'm Georgia, I don't want to play in the SEC championship.
It's another opportunity to lose.
Because you lose, and you're probably not making the playoff. Now, to be fair, I would love to see another Texas-Georgia matchup at the Benz, but who knows if that's going to happen. I think Georgia got back in the right foot. Defense made some big plays when they needed to, but now you just got to finish the season strong.
We will look ahead to that matchup against the Bulldogs and the Minutemen. Can't say that enough here on A&O Sports Tonight as the week continues. You mentioned Georgia Tech. I was out at the Flats today hearing from some seniors ahead of their matchup Thursday night against NC State from Bobby Dodd. It is senior night, the last home game of the season for the Yellow Jackets. And really, you can't talk enough about the exciting win that they came off last time out, had to bye this most recent week. But that win over Miami is something in energy that they're going to try and harness the rest of the year. Injuries has been something that they've had to battle through the entire year. I mean, Haynes King is the one that's gutting it through. They're switching
Was there
out
an
between
update?
Him and Philo. You know how Brent Key is. He gives you like the kind of half-butt response.
Humbug,
of
not going to
like,
tell you
yeah.
anything.
I mean, I cannot see a world in which Haynes King isn't suiting up for this one, especially after considering what he did to give it his all against Miami and what that upset was. This is the last ACC game of the season for them. Go ahead and lay it on the line.
I know we cover Tech, but can we just talk about how overhyped NC State was coming into this season?
I'm here for it.
They were picked to be, I think, the top, if not one of the top teams in the ACC. They sit at 13th. They're 5-5. What happened?
That doesn't do it for you?
No, it doesn't.
Well, they're going to look to get bowl eligibility on Thursday. Jackson Hawes, who is the Tech tight end, who's headed to the Senior Bowl, was asked about NC State and said, hey, I know what their record is, but this is a team that has a very unique scheme. It's a team that likes to play together, knows what their strengths are. I couldn't think of a worse way to go out for your seniors than, have that high, have that
And I hate to bring it up.
just lay an egg in prime time on Thursday.
I hate to bring it up, but Georgia Tech has been known to lose some really games they should have won. Like Bowling Green comes to mind last year. Not great. And usually those happen after a big win.
The bye week makes me nervous. It kind of reminds me in baseball, you know how you had your regular season so good that you earn a bye week and then you just kind of sit there for a little bit. I even asked Brent Key about this. He talked to the media last Tuesday on the heels of Dennis Scott having his number retired. And he said, we're not changing anything. We're business as usual. Yes, we have a Saturday to kind of sit and idle, but that might be an advantage for us coming down the back end of our season where we can get some guys healthy, but still stay aggressive. I still think they're going to stay on the front foot. I usually say my predictions for Friday, Bailey, but I'm taking the Jackets, baby. Let's go, man. Let's ride.
You know what? Give me the Jackets too, though. Hold on. Before we move on, I have a bone to pick with you.
Uh-oh.
You didn't want to reference the goalpost in your package at 6?
I didn't reference the goal because we're turning the page, right? We're the bye
Hopefully,
week's
all you have
over.
to say is on the way out. Hopefully, they find the goalpost before Thursday. Back to you. Just saying. I was like, oh, look at it, it's still missing, and nothing from you. I'm a little disappointed.
It was on there. There's like a screen outside of Bobby Dodd. And
Still
they said
looking for it in that nasty
President's
President's Cup.
I will rise to the occasion next time. Hopefully,
you.
the Hawks rise to the occasion a little bit later this evening. Oh, wait, one more time. Give us one of those.
People in the newsroom are like, what's happening right now?
We got to clip that for the future. The Hawks are on the West Coast. They started in Portland on Sunday night, where they led by as many as 16 points before turning the ball over 27 times, including on the game's final offensive possession for Atlanta. And they fell by 3 points to Portland. I believe. Who are they playing tonight, Bailey?
They are playing the Kings. Sorry, I don't know. In my
Kings.
brain,
No,
it took a second. I was
It's
like,
two brains
wind up.
together to figure it out.
Sacramento Kings.
I'll start with the good news update as we kind of round out here on
Woo!
ANF Sports tonight. Bogdan Bogdanovic, first time we'll see him this season. Obviously, the last time we saw him playing big-level basketball was on the international stage and played extremely well, including against the USA team. But he has not played for Atlanta this season. He is available to play. I'm assuming he'll be on a minutes restriction, and it'll be a slow process to get him back into the fold.
Well,
But
they said the same about DeAndre Hunter, and he ended up paying a good chunk.
got right back in. You never.
He
know
did
what
take
they're
the next
saying.
game off, though. To be fair, they held him out for just like precautionary reasons.
What are your expectations for Bogey as the Hawks try to get some consistency here with the injuries? and
I
everybody on
think
the
just
same
depth,
page?
being that true sixth man. I want to see him air it out from three a little bit, help this team offensively. I am curious to see how him and Dyson Daniels might collaborate together whenever they're in together. So, yeah, I think everyone will be super excited to get Bogey back. Kobe Buffkin also available if needed, which is, just the more depth you can have with this team, the better. But we have to talk about Dyson Daniels.
What's the nickname? What's the one
We've
you've
been
settled
fighting
on?
about this all day.
What's the one
So
you've settled
I do enjoy. So I've never been to Australia. I want to go to Australia.
Down under.
Down under. My accent is so bad. I want to surf in Australia. That's like a bucket list item. Dyson Daniels has the nickname the Great Barrier Thief for all the steals he has. But you like another name, and I like both of them.
I like Great Barrier Thief, so the numbers came out. Dyson Daniels, 44 steals on the year already, which is far and away tops in the league. My nickname choice for Dyson Daniels, who was an absolute steal, you tweeted that the other day.
And you know what? I was waiting for someone to be like, pun intended. I was waiting for it because I almost tweeted it back to my own tweet of being like, pun intended, but I was like, no, let's see if. And you know what? My own people got my back.
I got your back
Thank
there. Great Barrier Thief. I also really like Dice Spice.
Dice Spice is good.
We work in a TV business, short, sweet, to the point. You thought I was feeling you.
Yeah.
Dice Spice.
Stop.
Stop. I asked Quinn Snyder after Hawks versus they played somebody at home.
Wizards.
It was the Wizards game. What Dyson Daniels has offered to them, not only in his play, but also just bringing up the culture defensively.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that has been the big gathering point.
What, he's
theme.
21, 22?
Yeah, their whole youth movement. To get people to buy in, and I'm not saying former teams didn't have the same investment, but maybe I am saying that without saying it. It's really kind of...
Shots fired at Dejounte Murray?
No shots fired.
I whispered
What's
it.
the saying I'm looking for? A rising tide raises all ships. Like, if you see a guy around you giving his all, it raises something in you internally to say, you know what? I'm a hustle too. He's hustling. He's diving for loose balls. He's deflecting passes.
All right, but like
I wanna
Clash
do
of the
same
Divas
thing.
too, right?
Who's the other diva?
I guess diva isn't the right word, but like superstars. There was the whole Trae Young, Dejounte Murray.
Mm-hmm.
One can't be without. Yeah.
I know we're coming to the end here, but my true tin hat theory here with the Atlanta Hawks is they're just gonna have to move on from Trae Young eventually.
I think so too.
Oh, we got our tinfoil hats here on ANF Sports
Well,
tonight.
I think, especially if they don't consistently start making the playoffs and turn a tide, I think Trae is getting very tired of it. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, I don't even think it's an organization thing.
Like, who needs a point guard who has the highest usage rate in the league that really doesn't play defense?
While we're still talking Hawks and totally aside from Trae Young, I would like us to start adapting in our highlights. Zachary Risson pour toi? For three? Yeah? Yeah?
What's on our mind? Bailey
Along with
Burmaster.
Great Barrier Thief? Okay, what is on my mind? Mike Tyson, Jake Paul fight.
No.
Yes. It was horrendous. A
watched
terrible
it.
fight.
I watched it.
The fight was almost worse than Jake Paul's hairline, if I'm being honest. So not a fan. 0 out of 10 would recommend. What I would have recommended from that is the Taylor Serrano fight.
Oh, that was a fight. That was undercard right before that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it was lit. Do kids still say lit? I didn't. I just went straight there.
Kids. Oh, gosh. We are just aging ourselves.
Kept
every
playing
moment
with a
here.
spliced eyebrow. I'm sure you saw it all over Twitter.
Yes, I saw
X. So yeah, that's what's on my mind is stop hyping up boo-boo fights.
Congrats to Mike Tyson. I know he posted after that was a big accomplishment
He
for
had been
him
through a lot.
personally after
8
some health
blood
challenges he's had.
transfusions?
I question if that fight should have even happened considering the outcome. I want to go to NBA for what's on my mind as we round out here. A lot of discussions about how to change scoring, how to get people involved in the game. We were talking about the All-Star game and what that change might look like this year. I want to get your take on this.
Okay.
So we know you get 3 points for scoring outside of that line. What about 3 points for a dunk? You know, it's one of the most exciting plays in basketball. They want more contests.
I'll do one better.
Okay, let's hear it.
The main official gets to vote on 1 through 5 for the point for the dunk, depending on how good the dunk is.
We're rating them. It's like
Yeah,
figure
like he
skating.
has like flashcards in his pocket, and like Jalen Johnson goes to town, and he's like, "It's a 5 points, 5, 5." So he's running down the court saying 5 points. That's a 5-point dunk.
Well, hopefully today's show was a 5. I know it was a 5.
It was a 10. What are you talking about?
Okay, even better. I'll take it. For Baillie Burmaster, I'm Aaron Ladd. That was ANF Sports Tonight for Monday, November 18th. We'll see you tomorrow.